caring for children has always been one of the deepest and most satisfying things a human being can do. The world is changing, and there's never been a more important time for childcare business owners to start marketing their businesses. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything that can help you grow your childcare business and stand out in a crowded market. Welcome to the Childcare Business Growth Podcast. Hey everyone, it's Nick here from Childcare Business Growth. So I'm super excited to join you guys for another podcast today. Now, I am joined by the amazing Jocelyn. Now, I want to do something a little bit different today, okay? Jocelyn and I have been talking about the importance of using circle time to not only promote your business and to run amazing sessions for your children, but to also have a big impact on families and just getting you guys out there in the community. So it's a slightly different episode today that I think will add a lot of value to all types of childcare business out there. So, Jocelyn, I'm not going to do anywhere near enough justice introducing you. So do you want to give everyone a bit of an overview to you and your background and why you can help childcare businesses?
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Nick, for having me on today. I am so excited to share some of my ideas to help childcare owners all around the world. So I got my start as a music educator. I taught for 4 years in the public school setting, and then I realized I love early childhood. So I started a business called Musically Minded, and for the last 18 years, I've been going into childcare centers and providing extracurricular enrichment classes for music to these childcare centers. It's been wonderful. We'll bring children, live music. We play guitar, we sing, we pass out tambourines. It's super interactive. But I realized that what would happen is once my team would leave, that 30 minutes of music might be the only music those kids got all week long. And that to me was not good because, as a music educator, I'm coming to teach music. But as a researcher, as somebody who's constantly looking for more information as to my why, so I can explain it to others, I know that music can be used for non-musical concepts. And so because of that, I knew I had to learn how to educate the classroom teachers who were with those kiddos all day long. And the day can get long, the day can get stressful. And if we can find ways to get children engaged in the learning experience, you know what happens? Teachers much more enjoy their work. So I'm on a mission to really help more childcare centers bring music through their teachers to their children on a daily basis, regardless of their musical talent.
Perfect. And I think that's so important, having had our childcare business for many, many years now. I think you're right, because people, let's face it, it's a tough day. I remember someone almost saying one time, what other job do you work in where you have to ask for permission to go to the toilet and potentially you could be surrounded by screaming children all day for 8-9 hours a day?
Yeah.
It's a tough job, but it's fun and rewarding. I think sometimes we get so stuck in the mundane day to day that we forget why we first went into that career in the first place. So not only are we going to cover off some points around how we can get our team to enjoy it more and embrace it more, but also the importance of getting, our team to use it to help promote our business. Because let's face it, as parents, we're all busier than ever. We've all got crazy things going on in our lives. And probably, I don't know the stats around this, but I should imagine there are lots of families that probably aren't using music in their house, that often either. So if we can get our team first all to embracing this, but then educate them on how they can also get their families to embracing this too. So I'm super excited to have you on board here. So we've got 3 specific questions we thought we'd plan out for everyone today. And the first one is, how can using music, movement, and circle time help to promote or market your business? So Jocelyn, I'm going to pass over to you if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so here's the thing. No matter what business you own, you need to stand out from your competition. And so bringing music and movement to circle time actually is amazing. But it's very important that as you're giving tours, as your teachers are talking to parents, that they know why it is important. So I'm going to go through that, because I think once you embrace it and once you realize the power in it, you can't wait to say that it's a part of your curriculum every single day. So music is natural. It's human. We were born to make and appreciate music. But you know what? Like I said earlier, it's starting to go away, this feeling that, well, I'm not a great singer. I don't know how to play an instrument. And so what's happened over time because of our society is that we've separated into two groups, the performer and the audience. And I'm going to guess anybody who's watching right now could probably tell me with, I don't know, maybe 99.9% accuracy, which one they believe they fall into. But over 400 years ago, that's when things started to change. We had these performance buildings built all over, Europe. And before that, everyone participated. So first, it's a piece of recognizing that everyone can participate. But then we want to look at, how does it benefit a child? So let's talk about social and emotional. When we are in a group and we are singing together, we are playing instruments together, we are working on what we call pro-social behaviors. So I want you to think, we got music, and it's going to be our vehicle that's going to bring in all of these concepts, all of these ideas that we want children to leave the child care center with, these skills. So social and emotional. Are they able to interact with others? Are they able to help each other? These pro-social behaviors have actually found to be promoted in music when you're interacting with others. But the amazing thing is, outside of music, children are more likely to help children. Now that's big, because we want to promote those social skills. Let's talk about emotional. Why would it benefit emotional? Self-control. When we're moving around and we're dancing and then the music stops, we have to freeze, and our muscles have to freeze. They get an experience to feel what it's like to stop. Now, how many times have you had a child in your classroom running and they're about to fall or hurt someone, and you need to get them to stop? Well, if they've had that experience in a fun environment, they know what that means. Their ear is cued to it. So when you say stop, they've already practiced it in a joyful way. Okay. So those are just a couple of the social and emotional. Now let's get into really what parents want to know, academics. But I will say for a second, we do know that social and emotional is far more important than academics. But I'm going to talk about it anyway. So when we talk about music, how it can help from an academics perspective, one of the biggest things is language acquisition. So bringing in language, having children know different words, being able to use them in sentences. That's what music is full of. So whether you have a 10-month-old baby and you're rocking it to sleep and you're singing a lullaby, they're getting that language, or they're up and they're ready to have that awake time, and you're bouncing them on your legs and you're singing a song or you're saying a poem, they're getting that language acquisition. So they're starting to bank those words. Now, when they become 1, 2, and 3 years old and they're beginning to verbalize, they've got all those songs and poems in their heads. So language acquisition. Let's talk about literacy. So we do something a lot in music called keeping the beat. So while we're saying or singing, we will keep the beat at the same time. Now, the incredible piece to that is research has found that when children can sync up to the beat, also known as beat synchronization, they are more likely to be a better reader. Why? Because beat and reading carry a lot of the same components. They're processed in the same part of the brain. So we're going to take two words, auditory and motor. Auditory motor synchronization is what also happens when we listen to words. So if we can have that experience with children in a fun environment, tune in the ear and help to get them ready to read, we are doing it through a way that they are naturally engaged in. So as a child care provider, it's important to be able to speak to that, to say, hey, you know what? We have something that actually teaches children across the curriculum in a way that's engaging, that gets their bodies and minds engaged, but also it's inclusive. Now, this is an important piece because right now we are seeing a major increase in children with sensory processing issues, autism, behavior issues. All of these come into play when they have if a parent has a child with any of these issues, they're going to be on high alert to making sure that their child is going to feel included in that classroom, not excluded by others because they're, quote, different. What's great about music is it levels the playing field. So unlike a worksheet, if I'm going to teach children, how to trace their shapes or trace their letters, well, I've just disqualified potentially 70% of the children in my classroom because they don't have the fine motor skills. They don't have the ability to sit in a chair and want to follow directions. But when I go over to circle time, and now I'm going to teach those shapes, and I'm going to get those kids up and moving. I'm going to have them use their arms to make a big circle. I'm going to have them lift their leg up and use their knee to trace a square. When we do that, we can start to have children. Everybody knows who's been in a classroom. Kids want to move. But now we're meeting them where they're at. So again, childcare centers who recognize this value and can talk to parents about the why, separate themselves. Now, the biggest thing is to make sure that there's follow through, and this really truly is happening in the classroom. You're not just talking about it.
See, this is a big one. I was just thinking about this when you started talking about the impact of the children, the ages they go through. Now, so my son has literally last week just turned 2. And if you think about this as a parent, okay, when your children go to, they may be a bit older, you ask them, how's your day been? And they interact and they tell you what they've been doing. But he's literally, 1-2-year-olds can't communicate that yet. But what is really interesting is that what I've noticed when I've picked him up from our childcare business at the end of the day, and he's singing the songs that he has sung in nursery and daycare. And I know that makes me smile because I know that, that's my way actually of knowing that he's been doing music in that day, because I can't ask him, hey, what did you have for lunch today? Or what did you do today? Because he's not in a position to be able to communicate that yet. But when he's sitting in the back of the car and he's singing his songs and he's, clapping his hands, I know that he's had enjoyment from that. So I think that's another important point as well, that music is a great way, particularly at a young age, to show that children have been learning and have been having fun on a day-to-day basis too. So it just made me think about that one there. I think that's a good point. So next one, top tips, because I know this is a tough one, but that some owners or directors struggle with, is top tips to get your team involved or to embrace and improve the quality of their circle time.
So helping them to understand what actually you said earlier was remembering why they are there in the first place, because it is hard. It is hard when you have a room full of children who are hungry and they're all crying at the same time. Why did I get into this career in the first place? But when you do know your why, and when you're reminding yourself on a daily basis, what happens is you send out that energy, and children naturally want to be with you. So the way that this connects to circle time is when you're a teacher who goes over to circle time, well, if all the kids want to be with you, guess what? They join you. So that's really a pivotal piece, is to help childcare providers recognize that their energy, the way that they're being, is definitely tied to their success at circle time and all throughout the day. Children don't like to be around people who don't make them feel good. And so that's why it's really critical. But then one of the big things that happen at circle time that I think really, really makes a difference is to recognize that children cannot sit for a very long time. Adults can't sit for a very long time. Yet when we think about circle time, a lot of schools and teachers have it in their head that it needs to be this 20 minutes, extremely focused sitting time. And if the kids want to get up and move around, then the teacher's doing something wrong. And I just want to demystify that, because there's the thing. The brain needs to be constantly oxygenated. So the blood that's going up there needs to be oxygenated. And that means that you've got to get the kids up and moving if you expect them to sit down and focus. Now, the key to that is making sure that you're getting them up and moving at least every 3 to 4 minutes over a 15 to 20 minute block. We want that success to be there. We want to set that teacher up for success, not in thinking, oh, if I get them moving and someone walks in, they're going to think it's chaos. It's not chaos, because essentially what you're doing is you're controlling the environment, not the child. And the byproduct of that is children who, again, want to be there. So let's think of, I'm just going to give an example of 3 activities of how you might pair them with the child's brain and mind. Okay. So we're going to sit down, we're going to get shakers in their hands right away, and we're going to sing a little hello song. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. I'm so glad to see you. Now, because they have things in their hands, which is critical, especially like for kids like your son's age, 2 years old, they don't stick around if they don't have a reason to. So when you have something in their hands, they're like, all right, I'm going to be there. Now, side note, now you've got the teacher who's recognizing, all right, they're participating, they're smiling, they're enjoying themselves. And that helps to have him or her have a better day. And in the end, stay with you longer at their job because they're happy. Yeah. So this is how it all kind of traces back. So the child's now singing hello, shaking their shakers, and we can stand up and we can jump. And now we're oxygenating the blood. So guess what? When we sit down and we pass out, put the shakers away, now we can do something calming because the brain says, okay, I'm ready to focus. You've got me for, 3 to 4 minutes. Do something. Yeah. So now we're sitting down. This would be a great time to read that story. But again, keep in mind, how long is the story? Is this story engaging? Know your audience. And then after you've read the story, it's time to get up and move again. And movement activities, again, like control the environment, but not the child, would be songs that, let's say a stop and start, like I said already. We move around, we freeze. And right there, the child is regulating, self-regulating and calming down because they got really amped up when we moved. And then we move and move and move, and then we freeze. And then when that song ends, we sit down, we finish up our circle time. The child's had their needs met. The teacher feels like a success. Oh. That, to me, is a winning circle time.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point there about the fact of the team worry that if someone walks in, that it looks like chaos. But that's a really interesting point there. I think as well, it's reminding the team of these things because, sometimes, let's face this, maybe they're fresh coming into the industry, they're really motivated, they're really inspired to do these things you're talking about, but it's constant reminding as well, isn't it? Just reiterating these points too, that they need to be aware of because, let's face it, some days they're going to have tough days. But I actually think as well, music and movement and getting those children engaged brings them back to why they love what they do in the first place. So I think it's a really important point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think teaching those new teachers that you can use music as a classroom management technique, not just at circle time, but all throughout the day is really critical. And I do know that people feel pretty self-conscious about their voice. So if a childcare center can have an environment where they embrace voices of all types and make sure that they're sending that message that, who cares what you sound like? It's the results that you get. Yeah. Then I really feel like that helps people feel comfortable and not feel silly being the one who's singing. So if it comes from the top and we say, hey, this is so important. When you're transitioning your kids from circle time to washing their hands, sing a transition song. So let me just give you an example of a transition song. Let's wash our hands, let's wash our hands, let's wash our hands, wash our hands, wash our hands. Let's go and wash our hands. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to tell you real quickly, I totally just made that song up, but here's how I did it. I used a tune, London Bridge is, oh, there you go, right back to England. London Bridge is falling down. It might have moved to Arizona, but I'm not sure. So London Bridge is falling down. I took that tune, and then what I did was I sent the lyrics on the top of the tune. That's what we call a piggyback song. But here's why it works. So when the brain hears music, it's processed in all sorts of different places of the brain. And that's another critical reason why music is such a help in learning, because it gets stored in lots of different places. But we're talking about getting attention. So those children are all over the place. The teacher's like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? They start to sing that song with the directions. Now what happens is the brain is processing the lyrics. The brain is processing the melody. It's processing the rhythm. All of this comes into play, and that means the brain can't be doing other things. Like, knocking down the towers, like pulling the books off the shelf, like running around the room. It gets the kids to stop and listen. And when that happens, now the teacher is getting to send the message, but doing so in a calm way. So it calms her or him, but it also calms the entire environment. And that can be used all throughout the day.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Very, very good takeaway. So last one of the big things I talk a lot about, obviously, is around marketing, stand out from the competition, etc. And one of the biggest things right now is that we're finding that in general, image posts, etc., are not getting huge engagement on social media. Video is becoming far more prominent. YouTube's growing continuously, massive amounts every day. And Facebook has even said they believe by the end of this year, their whole platform will be video. So what tips do you think we can give people on how they can use circle time or mini videos to help get families involved or to provide value to families through videos that they could maybe share on their social media?
Yes. Okay. So I'm going back to your son. When he was singing that song, well, depending on his language skills, you might not have known what that song was. But what if you did? So what if the teacher makes a video of that song? Now what you've done is created a bridge from school to home, and that parent can now sing that song with that child. What I think is important, though, is that we educate parents as to the why, as to the benefits. So you being in education, you already know he's acquiring language, he's learning new vocabulary, he's gaining his self-confidence, he's working on his memory. But parents don't all know that. So I feel like these videos would be really helpful to bridge the home and the school, but making sure that there are songs that the children are learning at school. What I also really want to say is parents are busy and they don't know how to interact with their child, but there is a direct correlation between a child's behavior and how much time they spend quality time with their parents. Because feeling that loving and belonging from their parent, feeling like they're being recognized and seen is critical. So if you make the videos, I highly encourage you to have them be parent training videos. I mean, we're talking like 1 to 2 minutes. Yeah, hey, I sing the song, and maybe, we don't know what parents don't know. So maybe they don't even know, she'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. So you have a quick video of singing that. Maybe you put the lyrics down below, and then that video is then taught to the parent, who takes that information to the child, and now you have the parent-child interaction and the time. So I really feel like the videos need to be a parent-teacher training.
Yes.
So that the parent and the child can then have those moments away from the screen, away from the phone, and build that connection. So
I totally agree. We try and, I try and say this too when we run live events and train online, that parents see you, the childcare practitioner, as the expert in what you do. And I think often we forget that sometimes. A lot of parents, with the greatest respect, someone might be a brand new parent, they look to you as the expert in this area for help and support. And so often we get caught up as parents in the day-to-day running of everything else that we forget that quality time with our children. So I think you're right, is that it's too easy to almost put them in front of a screen. But we have to use that as educators to not only educate our children, but actually to educate the parents on how can they can embrace that child more. Because look, if you can, as a facility, as a childcare business, if this is something you do every day anyway, you're singing with your children, if you can just record some of those mini videos, as Jocelyn said, 1 to 2 minutes long, that you can put out that are helpful, informative videos that parents can take away and learn from themselves, you're providing value. You're not there trying to see this as a directly as a marketing opportunity to market your business. You're out there saying, hey, look, as a parent, we know what it's like, but here's a quick song you can do to help embrace your children around washing their hands after mealtime. Or here's something you can get your children to do to brush their teeth. You're just providing mini videos to provide value to the parent on better ways that they can embrace with their children and get better quality time. I think you're totally right there. It's extremely important that videos are designed as mini helpful tips, not only to get the children to engage, but more importantly, to provide the parents with a skill set to engage as well. Now, I could talk for a long time with you about this. And I know, obviously, one of the things I'm yet to announce to everyone is that Jocelyn's now coming on board as a member success coach, guys. So as part of this community, Jocelyn is I'm extremely excited to have her on board, and just to have someone with her expertise to support our childcare businesses all around the world with Circle Time, because Circle Time is so important to not only do, well, everything we talked about, not only the day-to-day in the facility, helping children develop and learn, helping from a classroom management, and also engaging with parents outside of the facility too. But so make the most of this opportunity. Make sure you embrace with people like Jocelyn. Now, if someone wants to directly get in contact with you, Jocelyn, what's the best way that they can reach out for you? Maybe they're looking for training tips for their team, or they're looking for different ways they can get their parents more involved. How can people reach out to you to get involved with you?
Yeah, so I have a website called circletimesuccess.com. And there we provide Circle Time curriculum, teacher training, teacher coaching, and all the materials that you need. If you need shakers, you need scarves, we've got a list of all those important pieces. So that's a great place to start. There's actually a free lesson plan right on there with dinosaurs. I really feel like these teachers need ideas. So they want to do it, but they don't know how. And that's where Circle Time Success comes in. So we really teach the teachers, here's the information, here's the activity, here's the finger play, but more importantly, here's a video of me demonstrating that finger play so you know how to teach it to kids. We've crafted lesson plans so they know, like I talk about the pacing, I've laid it out so you know when to sing the hello song, when to sing that transition song. So really it takes the time out of the planning and searching so that the teacher, all they have to do is the learning and the implementation. And the coaching and the training pieces are really there to lay that foundation so that they can speak to the parents. That's the language that we want to empower them with. And again, just a reminder, right now, at least in the United States, we have a major issue with child care employees. There's a huge shortage. So, there's not a shortage of parents who want to bring their child to the child care. There's a shortage of teachers. And so we need to find ways to empower them, to motivate them, and get them excited through trainings that aren't just theories, but are actually practical that they can use on Monday. And that's what Circle Time Success is about. I've been there. I know what it looks like.
Yeah, I think, guys, make sure you go and check that out. I'll post the link in down below, okay? Go and check that out. There's some great resources there. I've been on there. Our team already started using those resources. Make sure you get on there too and check that out, because there's some extremely good value on there. Jocelyn, like I said, I could stand here forever talking to you. I know you're extremely busy, and I want people to make sure they reach out to you. Guys, make sure you go to the website. Make sure you connect with Jocelyn as well on Facebook too. I'm sure she doesn't mind you connecting there. This is a really important thing that we need to do. And if you're struggling right now around, like you've just talked there about staff recruitment, we need to get that factor across there again. Why people loved working in childcare. Why did it used to be so popular? Why has it dropped off now? Yes, it's not the most well-paid industry, but actually it's probably one of the most fun industries to work in on a day-to-day basis. Let's get that love back. Let's get people embracing Circle Time. Let's get them having fun every single day in their job. So make sure you reach out to Jocelyn, guys. And I'm sure we'll do a follow-up to this one maybe a few months from now where we can ask some more questions if you don't mind. But I'm extremely grateful for you joining us today, Jocelyn. And guys, reach out to Jocelyn, and we'll hopefully do some mini sessions later on in the year. We can get back on and ask more of your questions live. Jocelyn, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll catch up with you very soon.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Jocelyn, take care.
We're on a mission to help business owners just like you to get more customers into their businesses and to help you stand out from your competition. If you'd like to find out more about the ways we can help your business, check out our website at childcarebusinessgrowth.com.